podcast. So, um, here's the thing um, um, that I asked you the other day, right? You don't have to do any cooking, right? You probably
Mm-hmm.
don't go grocery shopping,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't have to do any cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
So, you don't have to do all the stuff that I would have to do, right? You don't wash
Mm-hmm.
your dishes probably. So, even without that, you're only left with about 3 to 4 hours of free time
Mm-hmm.
to get anything
Mm-hmm.
else done. And even that is work kind of related too. If you're listening to maybe a podcast or doing push-ups or whatever. And the key takeaway for you should be from that whole thing is that if you don't have to do any of those things that I have to do, right? How much time do I have? I have even less time than you. Because I'm working
Mm-hmm.
all day long. I have to every single dish when you live alone, I have to wash,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, the cleaning. I don't even think you probably don't even do your own laundry. You couldn't even do your own laundry if you had to right now.
No. No.
Okay, so you're a typical what we call situation mama's boy, type of thing. And why it's important is if you don't, I'm showing you how much I have to do, right? Because I have to do all of that other stuff have million into so I have even less time. The only way place I make up a little bit of time over you is when it comes to sleeping, right? Because at my age I'm lucky to get 6 to 7 hours sleep, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you're great because it's healthy. You can get if you get 9 10 hours continuous sleep, it's the best thing for you, you know.
So
But
what's the point, basically?
hmm?
What's the point of all this? Like,
Well, the point of what I'm saying to you is that I have less time to do, right? And I get so much more done. Like the point is, you, I'm ahead of you in the push-ups, and I have less time,
mm-hmm.
right?
Because
I can't.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm also the point of this is I'm also 30 years older than you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, yes.
that's the whole point. The point of it is I told you the first thing is can you match my energy level? When you have more time than I do because I have to do all that other stuff. That's the point.
Mm-hmm. I
You know,
understood. Get it. Mm-hmm.
you should understand how much more I have to do, and you think what you have to do is really peanuts because you're living in the lap of luxury, right? So remember. I tried giving Purav that example today. He saw we were watching the full video, right? And he even thought the part where I mentioned him where we there was an example where I said the great thing about Purav is when we're watching Netflix, we're watching TV, he's able to notice the type of editing that's going on, right? And I go, that's great. I notice you notice that kind of stuff. But the
Mm-hmm.
problem that you have, and I don't know if he's going to have this yet, is are you able to implement that stuff in your work, in your content quickly? Right? Because I can't tell you because if you're just again somebody who's more comfortable from a template and all that, then of course you'll never be able to do that because that requires the thinking and that whole thing, right? And let me ask you this: did you end up watching the video second time with Matthew?
Matthew,
Yeah,
that content creator, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I watched that.
Because
Not second time. I watched it even three times.
really, so
Yes,
let me
yes.
ask you this: is there anything if you watch something 3 times that you've been able
Mm-hmm.
to start implementing right away?
So basically, first of all, for after watching Matthew video, I
Yeah.
started scripting like professionally. I've tried
Okay.
that, like professionally, like doing this kind of thing and
Hmm.
doing that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm trying it, trying implementing those steps.
No, well, that's good because what I want to do more and more is I want to see not just saying it. I want to go in and see. Okay, show me your notes. Show me because that will help me. Just like you're making those videos, we
Mm-hmm.
discussed those SOP videos, where the breakdown is occurring,
Mm-hmm.
where we're not on the same page, and why not, right? I gave you a clear example when you said anything can be done, but you should be able to get an idea of how long something would take, right? If something needs to be done and this and that, and then you have, I don't know, 10 seconds of footage, you should be able to have an estimate, right? Because uh, then we're in no man's land, right? We're going to be, potentially working for hours on something because I don't know, because you're the expert when it comes to this technical stuff, right? And excuse me, so we want to just, get into there. Okay, so any questions before we move
So,
on?
did you watch that Amazon Live video I shared with you in under
You know what?
graphic design group?
What you sent me, let me take a quick look. I only saw that as being like a page. Was that actually a whole link with a whole bunch of editing you did? Or
Yes, 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 a whole video.
the whole. So let me ask you this: aside from the background, did you also make any other changes?
Yes, yes, I remove the whole part of bamboo
Right.
duvet
So I
because
didn't do the screen. Sorry, I didn't do the screen share right now. What you sent me was just a picture. It didn't have a link
okay,
to
I
it.
sent that video under graphic design group, WhatsApp group.
Or in the graphic design group. Then
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
Okay, let me take a quick look. You
So,
know what? Let's
what?
go in. Let's
Okay.
go in and I'll do a screen share too, because I did notice if we do multiple screens, that's when it doesn't show very well. So let's take a quick look in the screen share. Let's see how it comes out. Now, are you seeing a double screen right now or just a single screen?
Just a single screen.
Okay, so let's take a quick look. We're talking about nothing but bed down underneath. Because not only do I review it, I sell it, I sleep with it, all so much amazing value. So here's the silk duvet here that I got down underneath. And I'm going to open this up in a minute to show you what exactly. Okay, so here's the key takeaway. What do you think? Like, for example, how much time did you spend on doing this, for instance?
Less than 1 hour.
Okay. Um, what I would do is like I don't know how much editing. I'm assuming the main part of the editing would be just the background and then anything else that you can do.
Yeah, I removed the whole part of bamboo duvet
Okay.
because bamboo duvet package has a green color and it like disturbing the whole chroma key.
Right.
That
So
is why I removed that whole part. And at
yeah.
the end, I remove the camera is shaking and going to a different angle, which just doesn't make any sense because you are like turning off the camera, I guess. So I removed that few seconds as well,
Right.
and I designed the background. It's basically somewhere around 1 hour I spent on this
Right.
video.
Okay, so what we want to do for something like that is very simple. We want to be able to go in and see how quickly we can edit. Like suppose there's a 15, 20 second snippet, right? Hey,
Hmm.
chop that up, right? And okay, give it to me, and we can put it. We decide where we want to put it, how we want
Hmm.
to make, and this is where templates would become more important. So we want to say what do we want to do? What you can do is you can maybe just come up with something. Hey, I want to do this and that, and then you make an Instagram version of it, and then we can add it together. Because what I had just done recently before you came on, just 5 minutes before you came on, because I was millions things to do, I was testing how to go on Amazon Live using StreamYard. So
Okay.
I finally figured it out because I had gone on with Russ before. I don't know if you remember this. This was about a few months ago, where Russ was trying out Amazon Live and he was doing something for Marcia Reese. And
No, I didn't get that,
yeah,
but
so what
yeah.
happened was that was the time I knew it could be done. So what happened? The great thing is when you're doing Amazon Live is then if you're from a desktop or a laptop, isn't that great? And then you have a virtual background. Suppose I could be
Hmm.
on Amazon Live right now, right? And with a
Hmm.
virtual background, which you can't get using the phone,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so going back to the Amazon Live, I want to see you can just make a bunch of quick snippets. Same thing. I haven't received those snippets yet that I gave you from our conversation.
Yeah, I am on it.
Yeah,
It's not finished yet.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me
So
1 second. I'm writing something. Give me one
right.
second,
So
please.
get into those, and just like whether it's the Amazon Live, whether it's that same thing with Russ and you and me, can you go in, find those key moments, right? Whether 15, 20 seconds, like for example, that Amazon Live. Literally, there's so many other features. If I do an Amazon Live, I can have a video in video. So I can show that in the Amazon Live. Hey, check that out. So they
But
give
the
you
best part is we are also targeting to do things quickly and professionally. So if we do both things together, then it create a whole like things like we have to
yeah,
think about it, like if we want to do both things on the same time.
yeah. Well, that's exactly what I showed you in that video I'm waiting for you, right? It's that's like a video in video, right? In a
Mhm.
sense, where that pillow and you have an opening of the pillow and that person
Mhm.
struggling.
So about Amazon Live snippets, give me one deadline. Like how much time would you give me to spend on this so that I can
First of all, I just want you to spend literally half an hour, go in, grab a couple snippets
mhm,
from there, and
mhm.
then that's it. Just cut it up. You know what I mean? So then you have a bunch of snippets. Then what happens is, if we need to do any additional editing, we can do it. Right?
Okay, Tony. So basically, it's a 25 minutes video roughly, and if I watch the whole video only a single time again for marking down the points, then half an hour already exhausted.
Right. So I'm assuming at this point you have already seen the video if you did the editing already.
I seen that, but I didn't mark the
Okay.
snippet part.
Okay, what you should do, you should have done at that time as well. I don't know if it allows you to. What you should do is mark down the times, right?
Yeah, I can do that, but I didn't because I don't know that I need to like do
Okay,
snippet work as
listen,
well.
I think that's the breakdown you have on any piece of content you're watching. You should be marking down the timeline whenever you notice anything good and stop. You know what I mean? At this point, that's how I give you those time marks. That's to me that's like key. I'm thinking why isn't that anytime you look at a piece of content you should be making a note which video what time right away, like have that pen ready. That's the mindset when I'm watching content. I have a pen ready, I'm marking down and I put down what it is so I remember. We talked about mentoring, we talked about silk washable, we're talking about the wool pillow, whatever the situation might be. See, to me, that breakdown right there is telling me that you're not on the path that I think that would make things quicker. If you have a timeline of everything you thought, because you're already going through it anyway, you're watching me talk and say stop here, or this is good, this is good, this is good. Then what happens is easier for you to go back and say let's do this, let's do this. But suppose you're watching it totally brand new for the second time now, right? Then you make that timeline and then just quickly stop this, make a snippet here, make a 30-second snippet here, 10-second snippet here.
Okay, I will spend my 1 hour and not more than that.
Yeah, and what you do, then I can see what you can do in 1 hour. Because remember, all those videos that you saw all those videos I did same day. And literally, it takes me, most of those videos, it takes me maybe a couple minutes, 5-10 minutes each video. And I can't do a very good job because all I'm doing is just making a quick snippet, right? I'm not doing any additional editing because I don't have the time on the phone. And I don't have time when I have to do my own grocery. I have to do all that other stuff that I'm trying to tell you, right? Because I'm going to think to myself, if I didn't have to cut all that fruit that you're seeing being cut, if I didn't have to do all these other things, I would have more time to even show you how much more I could do, right? Because I'm really pumped up. I had a great workout. I told you, if you probably listened to that message that I gave you, where I cannot wait until we getting into like I crossed today the 100 push-up mark, the 200 push-up mark. I'm pumped up. You know why? Because that's the natural testosterone. You know what I mean? That energy that's coming into you because I'm feeling psyched. Because
On the same time, I'm going slow because I know I read Atomic Habits to like go with the consistency,
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
numbers. And I'm also seeing my body as well, how much I can take. I didn't do that like forcing my body, and didn't like get back to work because my
right,
arms
right,
are sore. I can't
right,
type
right,
and click on
right.
things.
Right, but remember, then, but keep close space. If you're the type of person, if 1 month later you're still doing um, 2 reps, 3 reps a day, 4 reps a day, are you really getting any progress? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? If somebody, the whole point, he's giving you the example in that book, how 6 months, 3 months later, you should have
Yes.
that kind of progression,
Mhm.
right? I'm just showing you that we're doing this challenge because you couldn't maintain that progression previously. So fine, if you can do only 5 push-ups, or do 5, but then hopefully next day you're going to do 6 and 7. Same thing with those reps. If you can only do today, if you're telling me you only did 6 reps, then try it for the next one. Do 7. Try 6 and one more, right? Just don't give up. That's the key, right?
Mhm.
Because if you give up, then what happens is it sets the wrong mindset. And I'm trying to show you something. I realize I cannot do a good job mentoring my own son, which is my priority is my son, and then anybody else who comes behind him, like you and other people, uh, is if I don't set an example. I can't tell you to go do a bunch of push-ups if I'm not doing it. I can't go tell you to go eat healthy and all this bullshit if I'm not doing it.
Mhm. Yeah, true.
That's that's the bottom line to me.
Yes.
Anyway,
Okay.
okay, so give me the update. What's going on from last time we talked? Where are you
So
in the
basically, I
field?
want an update from you about that plant-based group intro. A quick update, like, so you are
Yeah,
saying it's
let's
ninety
take a
percent.
quick
So
look
how
at
can I
it.
make that
Okay,
hundred
let's take
percent?
a quick look at it right now, and
Yeah.
then from there we can go. Let me do another quick screen share. So what you need to do is go into some of the other folders that I would want you to use, and and do that. So let's take a quick look. Do you remember which folder it was in?
It is under. No, I didn't upload that in Dropbox. I
It
just
was just
shared with you on
inside of
that
which,
group.
you know,
Yeah,
which one?
a group, the same group down under graphics.
The graphic group. Okay. I think this is that one, right? Yeah. Now, I don't think it's a good use of our time, basically, for me to go in and show you, for example, all the other pending pictures. And again, it's that can be time consuming too. But I'm sure you may have seen all those pictures of Africa, and I
Yeah.
realize I have a bunch of other
Mm-hmm,
pictures when
mm-hmm,
we weren't even uploading it to the Dropbox on my hard drive.
mm-hmm,
I can upload,
mm-hmm.
but you could just maybe grab some of those. But what I'm more interested in is tomorrow and the next day or two is going in to you, going in with you to seeing how this template works. So I can go in and quickly say, okay, how do I just want, if I want to just change the picture here and make it 2 seconds longer, how can I do that very quickly in that sort of template? If what if I wanted to change the music quickly? So I can do the quick changes within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, right? So then it's kind of like the advantage of Canva, right? We can go in and do things quickly because they have a bunch of templates.
Yes,
And
yes.
it reminds me of exactly what I was telling Mohit the other day. He was doing these intros, these thumbnails for the my fireside chat and stuff. And I realized there's so much time back and forth. I told him to make me a bunch of templates so I can say, hey, and then me and him sat down the other day. I said, okay, let's practice a template. So I went to his desk and he showed me quickly how I can just change the picture here with a new guest. If I want to change the content, this that, and I can be
Mm-hmm.
done in 5 to 10 minutes, right?
Max.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm looking for out of this is
Mm-hmm.
to make those, because that's where I think templates are actually useful too, right?
Yeah.
Because you won't know what to do. But what I'm saying to is templates only come into place in where it makes sense. Like for example,
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you an example. We're doing so many different final variations, right? Of 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 different things, right? And 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 you have to be able to know, okay, then we have a template because okay, we're gonna do one mute with instrumental or whatever, one with a split, and one is gonna be always the social media Instagram version, or so that's where the template scenario comes in, right? And you to move around, move away from that template where everything is a template for you, right? Because that's where you started off from, and you're making really good progression away from that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want to see in the videos you're doing, right? Again, for example, I just gave you the example of I'm waiting from you to come up with some stuff from the Amazon Live or the video that the other one. In that video
Mm-hmm.
that I gave you between you and me, I just gave you those key moments. Here, this moment to this moment, ego, or this moment to this
That
moment.
Russ interview, Russ
Yeah,
interview.
yeah, rest interview, whatever we want to talk about. So
Yes,
we're going to
yes.
talk about cooking, or the
Mm-hmm.
point is, I gave you that breakdown, and you should have that breakdown for every single piece of content you're doing. Is writing down right away in your timeline. If you don't have that timeline, that's the number one takeaway that I'm getting. That's that you don't have the right set of notes, right? If you remember, hey, this was funny, this got my attention, this whatever it is, then you can start creating something as well because you have those kind of notes, right? So to me, that's the most important thing we talked about right now. Next
Yeah.
question or anything else before we move on to the next topic?
Not right now.
Okay, so uh, let me take a quick look around. Um, yeah, so Ivato is finally finished. So there's a
Yes.
big back and forth with that because it- they're they had the wrong email on file. That's
Mm-hmm.
why we weren't getting the email. So it was under the down under account, but it was spelled wrong. And and what happened was it's so you would think they would have a double verification line for everything these days, but they don't. And we were always logged in under the old wrong email address. So it allowed
Mm-hmm.
us to make even we even paid for the full thing. But the good thing is she fixed everything now. I went in and it's working. So you can also see under our previous ones. And the key is as well when you're downloading the stuff again, put it in the Dropbox, organize it, quick, easily to find, and go from there. And
Yeah.
we won't have enough time today, but I want you to again keep on those SOPs, right? 4 or 5 a day. And I'm going to go
Yes,
through it
yes,
with you
yes.
so I can understand that creative process. And again, today we learned something very good. And you need to have those bookmarks. You need to have that timeline of of what you've seen. If you're just
Mm-hmm.
going back from your own notes, then that's the biggest problem that you have is you don't have a written, whether you put it inside of the apps or kind of things that they recommended, right? Or you do it manually on a piece of paper, whatever you need to do, but you need to have that timeline ready. So that's where the creative process is. Hey, this was funny, this is good. And then what you can, to make a longer video, you can combine 2 or 3 of the best snippets or whatever, right, with some
Mm-hmm.
graphics. And that's how we easily take a short piece of content to make it into a larger piece of
On
content.
the same time, when I learn something like watching lunch in Nom or Freedom Ticket, I make notes. But I just want to save up the time under Amazon Live video editing. That is why I like fasten things up. That
Right,
is why I tend
but
to
I'm
make
telling
notes.
you, I don't think you made, like for example, when you did all that video content you saw that we filmed for the gusseted bill protector, did you take all those same timeline notes that this is a good piece of footage or this, that, or any types
Yeah,
of
I
notes?
select those video and make a new folder and drag and drop into that. That's like a part of my editing process.
Right, but I'm trying to figure out why the most important, best piece of thing that you didn't even figure out what was the best piece of footage. Now, forget about the fact that the fish wire is sticking out from there,
Hmm.
right? That is the most best piece because that's the whole 3D cinematic look that you said that we can't do because it got thousands of dollars. We're trying to replicate on a budget, right?
On
And
the, I didn't add that video before because I think yes. According to you, I may be wrong, but I think that that doesn't make sense and that doesn't look professional. That is why I didn't
Right,
include
but
that
remember,
before.
the only part it doesn't look professional is the wire part. I just
Yes,
ask
yes.
you to forget about that. Even if you forget about that wire part, you didn't notice that's the best part of the whole concept. That's the
Hmm.
part you need to you should say to yourself, why didn't I notice that? Right? Instead of being responsive to say, okay, I didn't notice it, you should notice it. That's the fucking
Hmm.
best piece of the whole piece of content. You don't need any notes. You should be able to see that. Because I just showed you we're trying to replicate a higher end graphic cinematic look that we don't have time to do. We're just trying to play around and experiment, right? And
Yes.
that's what I mean. That when you're going through things, you should make notes. What do you think would be good? What didn't? Because people are looking for easy solution for everything, right? So if
Hmm.
they can just see something, like a pillow rotating and the protector going on there, right? Wow, they understand. And then we're using some graphics like, hey, it makes it look different. We have a two zipper design, and they're asleep in a minute. Problem solved, right?
Yeah, yeah,
To
yeah.
me, that's the most important takeaway. Okay, let me see. Anything else we want to go over? Do you have any more
Pretty
questions?
much. No, no. I'm like writing down the important things from this meeting. Even. Okay.
So let me take a quick look at the thing. 'Cause we have a very busy day now. You know what? I'll just show you the screen share again quickly. In this case, I don't know if you've seen this. That what happens is with the AMC suggestion tool, they have something else even now. So when I clicked it, they're trying to get a paid. So they're giving you us the estimated exact search volume if you pay now.
Okay. So
So
if you're showing something on screen, then I'm unable to see that.
I'm trying to do the screen share again. So let's see if it's working now.
Yes, I can see your
Okay,
screen
so
now.
this is what comes up using that bar now. So it doesn't mean we're gonna need necessarily, because we can get maybe the same data from
Helium
Helium 10.
10.
We're already
Mm-hmm.
paying for it, right? So these are
Mm-hmm.
the kind of things that you have to be noticing, right? Because I told you the most important thing that I'm noticing, and I keep trying to get through to Purav, I get through to you guys, is I look back and I say, hey, I in my life I had a lack of awareness, and you need to have that as well. That's what I told you when we had the meeting was ending, and I asked you what, like, how were you talking to Chitin right away, because he has that lack of awareness. He knows I wasn't happy, and he was trying to
Mm-hmm.
do something about it. And that's what you need to have, right? And you need to say, okay, how can I bridge that gap, right? Whenever we have um, uh, that sort of, I don't know, sometimes we're just on that different wavelength, right? And we need
Mm-hmm.
to sort of just bridge that gap. And I think by slowing things down, in this case, you're spending majority of your time on just the editing and this whole kind of creative process. I think it's really making a big difference. You know what I mean? Because it's putting your energy to where your strength is. And then from there, I want to start branching out. So once we did enough of this, so once you show me these other videos, we have the bag video coming up, because the stuff might come as early as tomorrow. So
Mm-hmm.
overall, with the stuff coming tomorrow, well, how would you say our success is so far?
So as we are looking for new products and they are coming
No, I'm
in,
talking about I meant in terms of the gusset protector. If it's coming tomorrow, and you see how far we've gotten with everything from um, the new listing, the
Mhm,
videos.
mhm.
What's your how would you say that we're making out so far?
I didn't get your question.
What I meant is, like, if you were to step back and look at the big picture, how would you think we're
Mhm.
progressing?
So basically, we did each and everything, like making video and like doing it from zero to hero part. Like each and every changes in little seconds. We put
Right.
many efforts on even content, not only in product, even in producing the content for it. I think that would be a big publish from our side.
Right. So what we're basically doing is, I would also even phrase it better to say, where we are right now at the stage where we should be. We're not
Mhm.
any far ahead,
Yes, yes.
and we're not any far behind. because the stuff
Mhm.
is coming. That's
Mhm.
what I was hoping you would say, because we only got this far because I have to get stuff so personally involved.
Mhm.
You know why? Because there's a lot of money involved.
Mhm.
Those pillar protectors alone were about $15,000 investment, right? And I know if it goes well, it can have a lot of potential. That's why
Mhm.
from the brainstorming, I came up with that whole concept of the pillow fight, and that's where we're gonna keep building around, and that's what you should be keep building on when you're experimenting and making those things that we talked about, right?
Mhm.
Is um is remember is that brainstorming concept. So we want to build around that, right? Same thing.
Mhm.
Then afterwards we have the storage bag, and then that's it. Then now when those are done, we can again put your time towards other things, right? So because then
Yes.
you take a break from the editing and then go
Mhm.
back to the other things that are still pending. So let's see
Yeah.
quickly before we wrap this up. One thing is pending is we have a couple of meetings tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the first meeting I think is the
With
one
David.
is David 11:30.
Mhm.
Um, then we have a 1 o'clock with that girl Diana,
Yeah. No.
right?
Yeah.
So again, that's the most interesting thing is that she has a lot of potential, but I'm worried about these types of girls because they have a lot on their plate. Like for example, she couldn't talk right away because she was taking French classes or some other kind
Mhm.
of classes. She's always upgrading her skills, always learning, smart,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That's why you notice, for example, you were caught off guard. But it also tells me if it doesn't work out, what's the first thing I'm gonna do? If I'm looking for somebody, I'm gonna go find a niche. I'm gonna go to Fiverr. I'm gonna type in Google Sheets. I'm gonna go to Upworks, go to Google Sheets. I'm gonna see
Mhm.
what people are producing and how much they're charging, and then from there, not get them to do some of my work, right? And from there, if they do a good job on the work, maybe I can see if I can train them and use them part time or full time, because
Mhm.
then they can do more roles out of their core expertise where I'm hiring from my weakness, right?
Mhm.
That's the same how we met or hired everybody else, right? So use that again as the baseline for everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else?
No, no. I think we finished each and
Okay,
everything
well, when
for
we meet
today.
tomorrow, let me take a quick look. Let's try to meet a little bit earlier because I want to see what you've been coming up if all those Instagram versions are done,
Uh huh.
and where you are on the creative process for those other videos.
Mhm.
So tomorrow we have David at 11:30, right?
11:30.
Let's
Yeah.
try to meet at 11. I have a meeting at 11 as well. Well, let's
Uh
try
huh.
to meet around 10:30 if we can,
Okay.
right?
Give 1 second. I'm
Or
writing. Okay.
again, most of the I'll be finished by 11:15 even. But basically,
Mhm.
most of my meetings aren't long. Even the David meeting is not going to take long. You know,
Mhm.
15 minutes max. These aren't long. Like we usually go a long time. Like we're at 40 minutes right now. But a lot of
Mhm.
those meetings are very short, so they're not
As
going to.
we can see the last one with the
So the
what's
other
the name?
important thing is
Anyways.
before we wrap this up is you can, like I showed you in pictures, there's so much benefit to this type of transparency, right? That people are watching, people are
Mhm.
paying attention, and they're learning, right? I told you, uh, I've had people contact me for social reasons, like I showed you. I've
Mhm.
had people contact me for mentoring as well.
Mhm.
I've had, you know what I mean? I've had people reach out to me asking me, "Hey, I'm so interested in what's going on in the mentoring and Tushar," and they're loving
Mhm.
it because
Mhm.
the first thing that we learn from these people who are much more successful than us is that transparency is the way to go, right?
Mhm.
If you don't understand something, you don't get that, just say it to me and let's try to figure out. Or you can maybe even go again. Those go to Google, go to YouTube, figure it out because that's what we want. Is don't bury your head in the sand, ignoring the problem. Deal with it head on, and it'll work.
Mhm.
You know, in the long term, that works better than